Dolph Ziggler was one of the most underappreciated talents in WWE ever. A bona fide superstar in every sense of the word, he had all the tools to be the face of the company at one point. Instead, his career was defined by so many failed pushes and disappointing title runs. But where did it all go wrong? And how did WWE ruin such a great talent like Dolph Ziggler? Let's find out.
You should have been me!
Debuting in 2005 as a caddy for Chavo Guerrero, his character was nothing more than a complimentary piece to an already offensively bad gimmick in Kerwin White, which only lasted a couple of months before getting canned after Eddie's death. He was such an afterthought that they didn't even bother changing his real name, Nick Nemeth, on screen, something Dolph himself poked fun of later in an interview. Dolph didn't fare much better in his next gimmick, as he then became a male cheerleader called Nikki as part of the group known as the Spirit Squad. And while he and the other members did see some success during this time, even winning the World Tag Team Championship, that gimmick was never gonna be their ticket to becoming top stars in the company, as evidenced by how none of them ever made it big apart from Dolph after the group split. And on top of that, they were infamously written out of TV in the most tongue-in-cheek burial imaginable. But the bad gimmick isn't the end of the world, as some of the all-time greats also started off with truly awful gimmicks before finding one that sticks, like The Rock as Rocky Maivia, Becky Lynch with the Irish Jig, or whatever the hell Kane was during this time. And the same would happen for Dolph in 2008 when he re-debuted for the third time as The Show-Off. But even this one didn't start off without a hitch. Real quick, we're trying to get to 1,000 subs by the end of the year, so your subscription would really mean a lot. Thank you! Many fans might forget that WWE kinda ruined the Dolph Ziggler character from the very beginning, when they made him into this annoying guy who's obsessed with introducing himself to literally everyone he would come across with.
Hi. I'm Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler.
Instead of a banger vignette or a video package to hype up this new persona, Creative decided, nope, let's just introduce him to fans in the most mind-numbingly stupid way, which really shows how very little they cared about Dolph from the get-go. And throughout this time, Dolph saw little to no success, notably getting squashed by Batista in his debut match and being eliminated at the 2009 Royal Rumble in just 20 seconds. It took nearly 2 years for Ziggler to finally find his footing in the company by winning the Intercontinental Championship. For a brief moment in 2011, WWE made a bizarre decision to change Ziggler's look in order to spice things up with his character. Introduced by his manager / on-screen love interest Vicky Guerrero as quote-unquote the new and improved Dolph Ziggler, he came out with a different haircut and a slightly meaner attitude. However, this turned out to be an instant flop as they made Dolph look like a generic creator wrestler from 2K instead. And it didn't last very long either, as just a month later, he was back to the old bleach blonde hair and everyone just pretended like nothing happened. Now, onto the more egregious mistakes. One of the biggest missteps WWE made with Dolph Ziggler is not giving him the chance to have a meaningful World Heavyweight title reign. Both of his reigns were so frustratingly short that he might as well have never won it. His first taste of the big gold came around early 2011. Dolph was on the up and up after having a fairly successful run with the IC title, and he would set his sights on Edge's World Heavyweight Championship. And after several failed attempts, he would finally do it, but not in the way anyone expected. You see, Ziggler was basically handed the title by then acting SmackDown GM Vicky Guerrero after she unceremoniously suspended and stripped Edge of the title. The whole thing lasted for about less than an hour after Teddy Long returned to take his job back, and on the same night, he would force Dolph to defend his newly won title against the reinstated Edge in what turned out to be a 6-minute squash match. A very short and pointless title win, it makes you wonder why they even gave it to Dolph in the first place. His second World Heavyweight title reign was definitely way better, but arguably even more disappointing. 2013 can be considered as Dolph Ziggler's breakout year, as he was super over with the fans at this point, and he even had the greatest moment of his career when he successfully cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase on the Raw after Mania to a massive pop. It looked as if management was finally behind Dolph and that he was gonna be one of the top guys in the company for years to come. But then, shit happened. There's a reason why we only talk about the cash-in and not the title reign that preceded it, because well, there wasn't really much to talk about. Early into his title reign, he would suffer a minor concussion which only kept him out of action for a few weeks. But as history would show us, Vince can sour on a talent in a blink of an eye, and as soon as this injury happened, Dolph's push was over. And once he came back, he would immediately lose the title to Alberto Del Rio in his first and only title defense. Ziggler never quite recovered from this loss, and he meandered back into the mid-card scene until he got his next big break during the Authority storyline. Or did he? In late 2014, Dolph Ziggler got himself into the crosshairs of the Authority when he aligned himself with John Cena for the traditional 5-on-5 Survivor Series match. The Authority was this evil corporate faction led by Triple H and Stephanie, and they ran roughshod over WWE for over 3 years. And so the Survivor Series match that year was very important storyline-wise due to the huge stakes involved. If the resistance of Team Cena wins, then the Authority would no longer be in power. Dolph Ziggler played a very pivotal role in the match as he ended up becoming the sole survivor, defeating the Authority after one hell of a performance. Many believe that this would be the turning point of Dolph's career, that he would once again be in the main event picture. So what happened after?
Nothing.
His win was very quickly overshadowed by the debut of Sting, and aside from a short IC title stint, Dolph's momentum was killed by the WWE once again. One of the more confusing decisions made by the WWE is having Dolph Ziggler turn heel at the onset of 2017. Prior to this, Dolph had been enjoying a pretty fruitful run as a babyface, coming off the back of a white-hot feud with The Miz for the IC title that culminated in a very emotional title win at No Mercy. Shortly after dropping the title back to The Miz, however, Dolph just suddenly turned heel without a real good reason why. Fans were still solidly behind him at this point, and forcing fans to boo him just made things really awkward. And all this so we could have what? A nothing feud with Kalisto and Apollo Crews? After the pointless heel turn, Dolph would have a very lackluster 2017, losing most of the feuds he was a part of. And so it came as a shock to many when he won the United States title at Clash of Champions late that year. 2 days later on SmackDown, he would cut a passionate promo airing out his frustrations with the WWE. At the end of it, however, Ziggler left the title in the ring and seemingly teased that he was gonna quit the WWE. This caused a stir among wrestling fans, with many speculating on whether this was a work or not. Well, we didn't have to wait long for the answer, as just a few weeks later, he would make a surprise return at Royal Rumble 2018 as the number 30 entrant, only to get tossed out by Finn Balor in 2 minutes. And if you're wondering what the payoff for all of that was, Dolph later revealed in an interview that he actually pushed to be gone for longer, but management didn't agree, so he ended up looking like a dumbass who just gave up his title for no reason. Dolph Ziggler's last significant push in the WWE came about during the start of 2022. He made a surprise appearance on NXT and immediately set his sights on the then NXT champion Braun Breaker. And at NXT Roadblock, Braun would end up defending his title against Ziggler and Ciampa in a triple threat match. Similar to the US title match at Clash of Champions, many thought that he was just there to take the pin from the other two men. But again, he shocked the entire WWE universe when he won the NXT title. The idea of Dolph being the top guy in NXT was definitely exciting, as this could have rejuvenated his career like Finn Balor in 2019. But leave it to Vince to spoil the fun, as less than a month later, Dolph would drop the title back to Braun Breaker on the Raw after Mania. And unfortunately, that was the final nail in the coffin for Dolph Ziggler. He went back to the main roster and jobbed to several talents until he got released on September 21 this year. Ziggler's career is a sad tale of many what-ifs. What if he didn't get a concussion in 2013? What if he didn't turn heel in 2017? What if WWE just trusted in him enough to have longer title reigns? There were so many times throughout his career that Dolph Ziggler could have been the guy, but for one reason or another, management kept getting cold feet and his push would get cut short every time it looked like he was on the verge of greatness. And so, Dolph never had the chance to really show the world what he can do as the top guy. There's still time for him to do it, just not in the WWE. What are your thoughts on Dolph Ziggler's career? Should he have been a bigger star? Let me know in the comments below. Till the next video, peace.